with the fourth week of the NFL season in the books. Let's take a look at how this week of the NFL week. It was a pretty crazy one, and it started on Thursday with the Rams taking on the Cardinals 15-6. A pretty low-scoring game, but the Rams got the job done. They won by 9 in this game. Nothing really impressive offensively, though. Matthew Stafford threw for 217. Kyren Williams had a rushing touchdown. The extra point was missed by Matt Gay. For the Cardinals, just 106. Their offense looked terrible the entire game. They had 6 first downs in this game, so it was really rough for Arizona. The Rams progressed to 3-1. Cardinals slipped to 0-4. The first of the London series begins here. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' revenge game. Instead, it's Jordan Love versus Zach Wilson, a game in which the Packers won this one 16-13. Love, 181. Aaron Jones had the only touchdown for the Packers. Zach Wilson threw for 231. He had a good game. Randall Cobb had the touchdown for the Jets, but the Packers defense was able to hold up and win this one by 3 to go to 3-1. They've won some intensely close games. The Seahawks beat the Browns 29-3 in a blowout in Cleveland, a game which the Browns fans did not want to see. Deshaun Watson, 4 interceptions, and there's talks that maybe Deshaun Watson could be benched going down the road. DK Metcalf had 74 yards and a receiving touchdown. Kenneth Walker left the game with an ankle, did not return, but he is good to go for next week. Just wanted to do it just to make sure he didn't get hurt. Geno Smith threw for 215 and 2 touchdowns. A rainy day in Tampa Bay saw the Colts getting the upset 20-13 after their offense has lacked production the past 2 weeks against the Vikings and the Rams. They looked okay today. Anthony Richardson had a rushing touchdown and also 169 yards and interception through the air. Jonathan Taylor, big day on the ground. Baker Mayfield looked rough with 2 interceptions and just 3 catches for Mike Evans. Rashad White had a touchdown, but the Colts win 20-13, go to 2-3. A sprinkly rainy day down in Miami saw the Dolphins winning 24-10 over the Steelers. It was raining off and on. It was not really a downpour, just more of kind of a drizzle. But 225, 2 touchdowns for Tua, one of which came to Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert had a rushing touchdown. Kenny Pickett, 209, 2 interceptions, had a touchdown to George Pickens. Both teams are now 3-1. First loss for the Steelers. They're no longer undefeated. The Eagles put up a show against the Minnesota Vikings. They win at 34-13. They win by 21 to progress to 3-1, and they look kind of back on the right track. 224, 2 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. He had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. One of his passing touchdowns went to Devontae Smith, who had 3 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Cousins, very inaccurate, just 169 yards and 2 touchdowns, one of which going to Justin Jefferson. Eagles 3-1. Vikings have lost 2 straight. In Will Levis's first start as a Titan, he leads the Titans on a comeback to win 18-14 and beat the New York Giants. Levis, 182 and a touchdown. Daniel Jones threw an interception. He also had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Saquon Barkley looked pretty good. He had the receiving touchdown, but the Titans only took Will Levis one time to get the victory. They get to 2-2. Giants slipped to 2-2 after winning back-to-back games. Buffalo, they got the win, but it was at a cost. And you'll see on the stat slide, they win 23-7. They have a good game against the Broncos, but they lost Stephon Diggs for the season with an Achilles injury. That is huge. That means Gabe Davis and Khalil Shakir need to step up for Buffalo. Allen putting up some MVP numbers yet again, and the Bills are undefeated. Broncos slipped to 1-3 after they looked pretty good against the Bears, and they've looked decent all year long, but they just crumbled back to earth in this game. The Lions go to town on the Bears and win 42-24. It looked rough in the beginning, but in the second half, the Lions turned it on. Jared Goff, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception. David Montgomery, his revenge game went well, and the rookie Jameson Williams did good in the absence of Josh Reynolds. The Bears, 306 career high for Justin Fields, had an interception, though had a touchdown as well. Cole Kmet had 7 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown for the Bears. They've yet to win a game. In the final game, without Patrick Mahomes, Blaine Gabbert leads the Chiefs to beat the Jaguars 15-10 in a low-scoring affair in Arrowhead. And boy, they need Mahomes back to take on the 3-1 Rams next week. 168 and a touchdown for Gabbert. Sky Moore caught that touchdown. Trevor Lawrence, 184 and a touchdown. The Chiefs' defense really helped win this game. Jacksonville's lost 2 straight, which is pretty surprising, to Tampa Bay and Kansas City. The Chiefs are 3-1 before, like I mentioned, staying at home to take on the Los Angeles Rams in Week 5. America's Game of the Week, the Ravens win by 10, and the score doesn't do it any justice. The Cowboys got 2 garbage time touchdowns late in the game. Baltimore wins 27-17. Prescott did all right, 286, 2 touchdowns, but that Ravens defense was on lockdown on most of the receivers. CeeDee Lamb had a deep touchdown. He was pretty much the only receiver that can do anything for the Cowboys. Jackson, 300 yards. He's back in the MVP race. How about Zay Flowers going off for the Ravens with 2 touchdowns? Monster day for him. The Bengals get their first win of the season, and it comes against the Houston Texans 30-17, but their offense just looked awful through the first 3 weeks. 13 points twice and then 10 points. They put up 30 here. Burrow, 283, 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had a good game. C.J. Stroud looking pretty good, the most consistent out of the rookie quarterbacks so far. The record just doesn't show for it. Nico Collins looks like the best receiver in Houston. That connection, very good. Both teams are 1-3. 20-18, New England beats the Commanders. The Commanders scored as time expired, and they had to go for 2 to try and tie it. They missed the 2-point conversion and lose in heartbreaking fashion. The Patriots have won 2 in a row and will take on the Bills next week. Mac Jones, 237 and a touchdown. Look at the stats for Sam Howell, 334. 215 of those came in the second half. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, though the turnovers is what really hurt the Commanders. The 49ers do not score 30 points for the first time this year. They win 28-13 and beat the Falcons, but this team still looks like the best in the NFL. They are one of 4 undefeated teams. Brock Purdy, 271 and a touchdown. 5 undefeated teams. Christian McCaffrey had 2 rushing touchdowns. Desmond Ridder, 50% completion percentage and another under 200-yard game. Kind of a question mark there in Atlanta at the quarterback position. Sunday Night Football on NBC sees the Falcons winning, the Chargers winning 24-20. They beat the Raiders, as this was not a pretty game by either quarterback. Easton Stick with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Keenan Allen had the late touchdown with 4 minutes to go to give the Chargers the lead and eventually the win. But the Raiders are 1-3, and Jimmy Garoppolo has been up and down so far this season. Josh Jacobs had a rushing touchdown for the Raiders. And then on Monday Night Football, the Saints win 24-12 and get their first win of the year. Battle the 0-3. The Panthers slip to 0-4. The Saints get a win and are 1-3. Well needed in their division with how the Bucs have been playing. 203, an interception and a touchdown for Bryce Young. Miles Sanders, his first game of the season, missed the first 3 with a knee injury, but he came in, had a receiving touchdown. Derek Carr, 227, and 2 touchdowns for him. Raheem Shaheed with another big day through the air. Take a look at the standings here. Just a reminder that in the description is the Super Bowl Sweepstakes document. Make sure to catch in on the action and be a part of Super Bowl 8. But in the AFC, 2 undefeated teams. Same with the NFC. There are just 4 undefeated teams left. Buffalo and Baltimore on top of the AFC. Kansas City, Jacksonville, the division leaders. Dolphins, Steelers, and Chargers round out the playoff spots for the AFC. In the NFC, it's the Lions and the 49ers who are the 2 undefeated teams. Cowboys at 3-1, Bucks at 2-2, Seattle, the Rams, and Eagles 3-1, Packers also at 3-1, with the Giants and Vikings in striking distance, Saints and Commanders each with a win apiece, and then 0-4 for the Falcons, Bears, Cardinals, and Panthers, all looking to get back on track and get their first win of the season in Week 5. This is ASC, signing off.